Hey, stargazers! Ever feel like your brain plays tricks on you? Guess what? It does, all the time. We think we see the world as it truly is, but our brains are constantly making assumptions, filling in gaps, and sometimes flat out lying to us. This is the fascinating world of optical illusions. These visual puzzles trick our senses and reveal the hidden workings of our minds. From impossible objects to color conundrums, optical illusions are like brain teasers for our eyes. They show us that reality is subjective, shaped by our brain's interpretations. So, get ready to question everything you see. So, what exactly is an optical illusion? It's a visual experience that messes with our perception. It makes us see something that's not really there, or distorts our view of something that is. This happens because our brains receive information from our eyes and then try to make sense of it. But sometimes our brains take shortcuts, relying on past experiences and assumptions. These shortcuts are usually helpful, allowing us to process information quickly in a complex world. But they can also lead to fascinating errors in perception, optical illusions. Now let's break down the different types of illusions that mess with our minds. These illusions can be categorized into three main types: literal, physiological, and cognitive. Each type has its own unique way of tricking our perception and making us question what we see. First up, we have literal illusions. These are like optical tricks. They create images that are different from the objects that make them. Literal illusions are straightforward but can be quite surprising. Think of a straw appearing bent in a glass of water. That's a literal illusion. This happens because light bends when it passes from one medium to another, like from air to water, creating a distorted image. Next, we have physiological illusions. These are all about how our eyes and brains work together. They happen when our visual system gets overstimulated or tired. Physiological illusions can occur due to excessive stimulation of brightness, color, or movement. For example, after staring at a bright light, you might see a dark after image. That's a physiological illusion in action. This happens because the photoreceptors in our eyes become temporarily desensitized. Lastly, we have cognitive illusions. These are the most mind-bending of all. They exploit the way our brains make assumptions and interpret information. Cognitive illusions often involve higher-level brain functions and can reveal how our minds process complex information. Cognitive illusions reveal the tricks our minds play to make sense of the world around us. They show us that our perception is not always a true reflection of reality, but rather a constructed interpretation by our brain. Section 4, bottom-up versus top-down, the tug-of-war in your brain. Our brains are constantly engaged in a tug-of-war between two processing methods, bottom-up and top-down. Bottom-up processing is like building a puzzle. Our brains take in sensory information from our eyes and assemble it into a complete picture. On the other hand, top-down processing is like using the picture on the puzzle box as a guide. Our brains use prior knowledge, expectations, and context to interpret what we see. Optical illusions often exploit this top-down processing, tricking us into seeing things that aren't really there or missing things that are. Section 5. Famous illusions exploring visual puzzles. Let's dive into some famous optical illusions that demonstrate these concepts. Optical illusions are fascinating because they reveal the quirks and limitations of our visual perception. They show us that what we see isn't always what is actually there. The Müller-Lyer illusion, for instance, features two lines with arrows on the ends. This classic illusion has been studied extensively in psychology. One line's arrows point inward, making it seem shorter. This is because our brains interpret the inward arrows as indicating a corner that is receding away from us. The other line's arrows point outward, making it seem longer. Here, our brains interpret the outward arrows as a corner that is protruding towards us. But guess what? They're the same length. This illusion highlights how context and surrounding visual cues can distort our perception. Then there's the checker shadow illusion. This one is particularly mind-bending. It shows a checkerboard with a shadow cast across it. The shadow creates a context that tricks our brains. Two squares, one in the shadow and one outside, appear to be different shades. This is because our brains compensate for the shadow, making the square in the shadow appear lighter. But surprise, they're actually the same color. This illusion demonstrates how our perception of color is influenced by surrounding light and shadow. Our brains adjust our perception of color based on lighting and shadows. This is a survival mechanism that helps us navigate the world. Ever seen those rotating snakes? This illusion is a great example of how motion can be perceived even when there is none. That's not a GIF, folks. It's a static image that creates the illusion of motion. It's a static image that creates the illusion of motion. The contrasting colors and shapes trick our brains into seeing movement. Our peripheral vision and the contrasting colors trick our brains into perceiving movement where there is none. This shows how our visual system can be easily fooled. And who can forget the cafe wall illusion? This one is a classic and always leaves people puzzled. It features rows of black and white squares separated by slightly offset lines. The offset lines create a visual effect that makes the rows appear slanted. The lines create the illusion that the rows are slanted even though they're perfectly parallel. This illusion demonstrates how our brains can be tricked by simple geometric patterns. Section 6. The beauty of perception, embracing our flawed genius. These mind-bending illusions might seem like glitches in our brain's programming, but they're actually a testament to its remarkable abilities. Our brains are not just simple processors, they are complex adaptive systems that constantly interpret and reinterpret the world around us. They highlight the incredible complexity of human perception and cognition. Each illusion we encounter is a window into the sophisticated mechanisms that allow us to navigate our environment, solve problems, and create art. Our brains are constantly working to make sense of a chaotic world, and sometimes that means taking shortcuts and making assumptions that lead to these delightful visual paradoxes. These shortcuts, known as heuristics, are essential for our survival, helping us make quick decisions in a complex world. So, the next time you encounter an optical illusion, don't be fooled. Instead, take a moment to appreciate the intricate dance of neurons and synapses that create these fascinating experiences. Instead, embrace it as a glimpse into the fascinating inner workings of your own mind. These illusions are not just tricks, they are a celebration of our brain's ability to adapt and thrive. After all, these illusions remind us that reality is not always what it seems and that our brains are capable of creating entire worlds within our own heads. They encourage us to question our perceptions and explore the boundaries of our imagination. Keep looking up. The universe is full of wonders, and our minds are the ultimate tool for exploring them. Like, share, and subscribe for more Curiosities Explained.